intersectionality can have its place within the vegan movement. Of course, whatever gets people to go vegan, and if it's helping you combine that with human issues as well, racial equality, gay rights, great. The problem I have with some, not all intersectional vegans, with some intersectional vegans is that they'll say stuff like, oh, you shouldn't hijack a human issue in order to talk about an animal rights issue. But then those very same people will gladly hijack a topic about veganism in order to turn it into a human rights debate. I've seen posts by vegans, animal rights posts and stuff on Facebook, go on some tangent about white privilege and stuff like that. What the hell? That is the very definition of hijacking someone's situation in order to talk about someone else's suffering.
Yeah.
So, and there's probably, watching this now, there's probably intersectional vegans, and I have many on my friends list, as I'm sure you do, shouting at the screen and stuff like that. Again, I'm not saying it's every single one of them. That's absolutely not true. And I admire the work many of them do. It's just the ones who are hypocrites and want to talk about non-intersectional vegans hijacking the oppression of humans. But those people are doing it themselves a lot of the time, hijacking animal oppression to talk about human issues.
Yeah, I see a lot of speciesism amongst vegans, for sure. I'm very black and white about this, I guess. When it comes to vegan issues, it's about non-human animals. End of story. Like, I don't know why people are getting so confused about that. I think it's justified to say that non-human animals are morally superior to us, because how gentle and how beautiful is a cow, right? Compared to a human who torments and bullies and destroys. And as a species, as a whole, we're not talking about individuals necessarily, but as a whole, our species is, as I say, feces. So I don't know how people can be so speciesist. It's almost insane. If you have any humility whatsoever, you just, I don't know, man.
This is the most annoying thing about humans, is not just that we commit all these atrocities, but then after all these atrocities are committed, we actually have the nerve to think that we're the crown of all creation.
Yeah.
So every day we're seeing women being stoned for being raped. We're seeing animals slaughtered billions by the week. We're seeing planes flown into skyscrapers. We're seeing people having their heads cut off because they burnt a book or a flag. And after all this is happening, we're still having 98% of the world is saying we're better than animals.
Yeah, how dare you put animals on the same level as us? So the problem is that the balance is totally skewed, and that's why it's really frustrating at times from even the best of people who support and contribute to vegan causes come out and say, come on, let's take human suffering into consideration more and more. Let's soften our vegan approach more and more. I don't know, man. It's troubling. It sometimes makes me wonder how much quicker veganism would be taking place. Like the revolution, I'm sure would be taking place a lot quicker if we just had all vegans focusing on being vegan and actually doing vegan stuff.
Yeah. But I'll mention one other thing about intersectionality. The very premise of intersectionality really is helping to build a more inclusive movement, right, for everyone. So you can have vegans of all races, sexualities, whether they're able-bodied, whether they're transgendered, cisgendered, whatever.
Yeah.
However, now that's a great idea in itself. However, those very same people who are saying they want to build a more inclusive movement, they love to exclude people from the vegan movement who might have conservative views or something. God help any vegan who, say, votes for Donald Trump or something, for example. They're completely not allowed in the vegan movement just because they have right-wing views or something like that. This is the vegan movement I want. This is the truly inclusive vegan movement I want. I want feminists marching alongside men's rights activists marching alongside Green Party supporters, marching alongside Trump supporters for the animals at animal rights marches. That's an inclusive movement. And if you're shutting people out of the movement because they don't have a certain, the same political ideology as you, that's not building an inclusive movement.
Yeah, totally, man. Like you said, a lot of these intersectional people are out here belittling vegan issues for their own agenda, for their own human rights agendas.
Yeah. Which wasn't even the idea of intersectionality in the first place. I would even say that those people doing the intersectional movement a disservice, because there are many good intersectional vegans out there who are equally promoting animal rights issues and whatever other human rights issues, but they're doing their best to not actually hijack any kind of animal oppression in order to turn it into a human rights issue. But then a lot of intersectional vegans are doing exactly that, and they're trivializing animal oppression by doing such things.
Yeah, and it's just insane to me when you think about the state that we're in as a planet, as a species. We're actually now, you probably saw that in that news that came out that says we've already reached the tipping point for climate change, and so we're probably fucked already, and there's nothing that we can do to even reverse it. And veganism is the most significant way that we can reverse it, and so it is the most relevant cause today. And so it's really surprising to me, it's shocking to me that anybody would put anything over and above veganism at this point. When we don't even have a chance, like we're not going to even have a planet to live on to talk about human rights issues on. Yeah.
So if anything, that should be absolutely the most promoted issue that there is the animal rights movement, because that's the only thing that's going to save the planet.
Yeah, and you don't see, like I said before, you don't see these same people that have gripes with other vegans not being intersectional enough. You don't see these same people, generally speaking, of course, going to human rights organizations like Black Lives Matter, racism-based efforts, etc., and saying, on this Black Lives Matter table, you should have a vegan booklet, and you should also have a sign saying, why are you eating your friends, and blah, blah, blah. That kind of stuff is not happening in the vegan movement.
So those issues get the special privileges almost, where they get to just focus on their own issue. But whereas if you're an intersectional vegan, you have to focus on all these other issues at all. But as you said, they wouldn't scrutinize a Black Lives Matter protester. They wouldn't scrutinize a gay rights activist, a feminist. They wouldn't say you have to talk about animal rights.
It's disappointing, man.